Just hours from now, the President of the United States will meet with lawmakers asking them to ease sanctions on Iran and negotiate a nuclear deal. But could a bad deal actually lead to war?
Well, joining us now to answer is South Carolina Congressman Lindsey Graham.
Senator.
Whatever.
Sorry, Senator, I will say.
The pay's the same.
It is the same.
Good morning. You know, certainly a big day today with meetings going forward. Two ends here arguing in terms of sanctions on Iran. What's your position, and what is this meeting going to
Well, John Kerry says if Congress takes up another round of sanctions, that will lead to war. And some people are saying a bad deal will lead to war. The goal is not to have a war, but what would be a bad deal? From Israeli point of view, if at the end of the day the deal allowed the Iranians the capability to develop a nuclear weapon, if you left the centrifuges intact, enough of them to produce a weapon down the road, and the only thing between them producing a weapon is a bunch of UN inspectors, that has never worked for Israel. That would be a bad deal.
Secretary of State John Kerry says Israel wants every scrap of nuclear infrastructure dismantled. We love that too, but that's not possible at this time.
That is possible. Here's 4 things that would make up a good deal. Turn over all enriched uranium to the international community. That's a UN resolution. Get out of the enrichment business. Dismantle the plutonium-producing reactor at Arak. The Israelis are never going to let that reactor
A-R-A-K, not I-R-A.
Sure. That will never be allowed to go operational because it could produce plutonium as heavy water reactor. And if you want a commercial nuclear program, which is fine with me, let the fuel cycle be controlled by the international community. I'm going to introduce a resolution that defines a good deal as those 4 things, and we'll see where the Senate comes out on that.
Yeah, remember back in the day, though, for a while, one administration was trusting North Korea. How'd that work out for us?
Not good. If you back off the sanctions, which the president wants us to do, if you infuse this regime with $10 billion and you don't dismantle their capability to produce a weapon, the international community is going to say, aha, sanctions are behind us, and they're going to race to do business with Iran, and that's exactly what happened in North Korea.
Here's Benjamin Netanyahu weighing in on this very prospect this weekend.
And in fact, if you do a bad deal, you may get to the point where your only option is a military option. So a bad deal actually can lead you to exactly the place you don't want to be.
He says he might bomb, essentially, with Saudi Arabia, perhaps, if this goes forward.
Obama's been able to bring the Israelis and the Arabs together unlike anybody in history.
It's amazing.
A bad deal will lead to war, and a bad deal is allowing the Iranians the capability to produce a nuclear weapon. You've got to dismantle that program to protect us all, particularly Israel.
Lightning round. We've been talking about the Affordable Care Act, the not-so-Affordable Care Act. How screwed up is it in your estimation?
The individual market is in disarray, but the next shoe to drop nobody's talking about is when the employer mandate, they got a year reprieve.
Right.
About September and October of next year, when the employer mandate is due to expire, you're going to see a disruption of the healthcare market for employees. You think it's bad for individuals? Wait till you get a notice from your employer when they have to put pen to paper. They're either going to drop your coverage or your premium's going to go through the roof. That's the untold story.
There won't be a Democratic senator or a House member left if this happens. What's going to change in the interim?
I think what's going to happen, I introduced legislation to allow states to opt out. Every Obama friend has gotten a waiver. Why shouldn't each state decide if they want to stay in or out of the individual employer mandate? If you want to stay in New York, fine, give us a chance to opt out in South Carolina. How does this movie end? Democratic senators up for re-election are going to find a way to get this monkey off their back before next November.
Interesting.
And that's how this ends.
Senator, thank you.